If pedestrians are illegally crossing in the middle of the street instead of in a crosswalk, you A. must stop for them. B. do not have to stop for them. C. should honk your horn at them. A. must stop for them. You must yield to pedestrians at all times. If the pedestrians are jaywalking or crossing the street where they should not be, you must still stop for them. This road sign means A. the left lane is reserved for vehicles with a specific number of occupants. B. specific turning movements are allowed from specific lanes. C. do not enter. D. drivers in both lanes are responsible for merging smoothly. A. the left lane is reserved for vehicles with a specific number of occupants. This sign marks a high-occupancy vehicle (HOV) lane. HOV lanes are reserved for use by buses and vehicles with a driver and one or more passengers, as indicated on the sign. When riding in a vehicle, small children A. may be safely held by a strong adult. B. will be safe if they are standing on the floor in the back of the vehicle. C. will not be hurt in an accident because they are small. D. must never be allowed to ride while standing in the vehicle. D. must never be allowed to ride while standing in the vehicle. Special child seats are available for children who are too small to wear regular safety belts. No person is strong enough to safely hold onto a child of any size during an accident or sudden stop. Never allow a child to ride in a vehicle unless they are properly fastened into a seat. Your brake lights tell other drivers that you A. are making a turn. B. have your emergency brake on. C. are changing lanes. D. are slowing down or stopping. D. are slowing down or stopping. Your vehicle's brake lights indicate to other drivers that you are slowing down or stopping. Your brake lights should always be in working order when you are driving on any roadway.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
If you miss your exit on the freeway, you should not A. continue on the freeway and find an alternate route to your destination. B. proceed to the next exit, leave the freeway, and return to your proper exit. C. back up on the road or shoulder. C. back up on the road or shoulder. If you miss your turn or exit, do not back up in the travel lane or on the shoulder. Continue to drive to the next exit or crossroad. Drivers do not expect a vehicle to be backing toward them on the roadway, and doing so will likely cause a collision. Drivers who have consumed alcohol before getting behind the wheel A. are always aware of the risks they are taking. B. do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. C. are better drivers because they are more careful than sober drivers. D. have quicker reaction times. B. do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. Alcohol is a depressant that negatively affects judgment, vision, concentration, understanding of reality, and reaction time. It is never safe to consume alcohol in any amount before getting behind the wheel of a car. A driver can legally pass on the right side of another vehicle. A. if the vehicle is waiting to turn left and there is an available passing lane. B. Even if it means driving off the pavement. C. On a narrow bridge. D. At any time. A. If the vehicle is waiting to turn left and there is an available passing lane. If there is an available passing lane, you may pass on the right of a vehicle or bicycle that is turning left or waiting to turn left. It is also legal to pass on the right when driving on a multi-lane road with 2 or more lanes traveling in the same direction. You may never drive off the pavement or main traveled portion of the road to pass another vehicle. If a transit vehicle is signaling to re-enter the main roadway following a stop, you must A. Honk to let them know you're there. B. Move to the left lane. C. Yield. D. Speed up to pass. C. Yield. You must yield to any transit vehicle that is signaling to pull back onto the main roadway after it has stopped to load or unload passengers. Change lanes, slow down, or stop to allow the bus safe re-entry into traffic. You should increase the distance between your vehicle and the vehicle ahead when you A. Are following a small passenger vehicle. B. Are being tailgated by another driver. C. Are driving more slowly than the posted speed limit. B. Are being tailgated by another driver. When being tailgated, create extra space in front of your vehicle and do not brake suddenly. Slow down gradually or merge into another lane to prevent a collision with the tailgater. Slowing down just to look at collisions or anything else out of the ordinary. A. Causes traffic congestion. B. Prevents rear-end collisions. C. Improves traffic flow by preventing collisions. A. Causes traffic congestion. Avoid rubbernecking, or slowing down to look at collisions or anything else out of the ordinary. This helps to relieve traffic congestion. A broken yellow line between 2 lanes of traffic means A. Both lanes of traffic are going in the same direction. B. Passing is permitted when it's safe. C. Passing is not permitted. B. Passing is permitted when it's safe. Dashed yellow lines separate single lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. Passing is allowed when there is no oncoming traffic in the passing lane. If you approach a stopped school bus that has its lights flashing and signal arm extended, you should A. Stop. B. Proceed at 15 miles per hour if no children are present. C. Proceed at normal speed, but watch for children. A. Stop. If you approach a stopped school bus that has its lights flashing and arm extended, you must come to a full stop and remain stopped until the signal arm is pulled back and the bus resumes motion. This law applies whether you are traveling in the same direction as the bus or if you are approaching from the opposite side of the street. Just like alcohol and other drugs, drowsiness can A. Help you to be a better driver. B. Make you feel better. C. Impair your judgment. C. Impair your judgment. Not getting enough sleep is a cause of poor driving behavior. Just like drugs and alcohol, sleepiness slows reaction time, decreases awareness, and impairs judgment. This road sign means A. You are about to enter a one-way street from the wrong direction. B. U-turns are prohibited. C. You may proceed if the way is clear. D. Come to a complete stop before proceeding. A. You are about to enter a one-way street from the wrong direction. If you drive past these signs, you are going the wrong way and are at risk of a head-on collision. You should cautiously turn around. The implied consent law in Wisconsin means that A. Drivers under age 21 cannot drive after drinking any alcohol. B. Penalties become more severe after a first OWI conviction. C. Drivers must submit to alcohol testing when requested by a police officer. D. A second OWI conviction requires your vehicle to have an ignition interlock device. C. Drivers must submit to alcohol testing when requested by a police officer. The implied consent law means that by driving in Wisconsin, you consent to taking an alcohol test upon request. If you refuse, you will be arrested for violating the implied consent law. Violation of this law will result in loss of your driving privileges for at least a year, in addition to other penalties. When you see this yellow sign, you should A. Always stop at the crosswalk. B. Stop at the crosswalk until a crossing guard signals for you to go. C. Be prepared to stop if children are in the crosswalk. C. Be prepared to stop if children are in the crosswalk. A five-sided sign indicates that you are near a school. Be aware and stop if children are in the crosswalk. Which of these statements is true about drugs and driving? A. Any prescription drug is safe to use if you don't feel drowsy. B. Even over-the-counter drugs can impair your driving. C. Only illegal drugs can impair your driving. B. Even over-the-counter drugs can impair your driving. Legal prescription and over-the-counter drugs can impair your ability to drive, including drugs taken for colds, hay fever, allergies, or to calm nerves or muscles. It is illegal to drive while under the influence of any drug that impairs your ability to drive safely. This law does not differentiate between illegal, prescription, or over-the-counter drugs. This road sign means A. No right turn. B. No U-turns. C. No left turn. A. No right turn. Regulatory signs provide notice to road users of traffic laws and must be obeyed. Where this sign is posted, making a right turn is prohibited. This sign means A. You should stop for other traffic. B. Traffic is entering from another road and you should allow additional space for drivers to merge safely into the flow of traffic. C. Traffic is entering from another road and you should keep right. B. Traffic is entering from another road and you should allow additional space for drivers to merge safely into the flow of traffic. This sign alerts you to the possibility of traffic merging into the main stream of travel. After checking to your side and rear, you should move into another lane, if possible, to allow merging motorists a clear path. If a vehicle is equipped with airbags, A. Seat belts should still be worn. B. Seat belts do not need to be worn. C. Seat belts should be worn behind the back. A. Seat belts should still be worn. Airbags are important safety devices that provide protection in crashes. For best protection, a vehicle's lap and shoulder belts should be used in combination with airbags. Your ability to stop is affected by A. Signal lights. B. Other cars on the road. C. The time of day. D. The condition of the road. D. The condition of the road. Your ability to stop is greatly affected by the condition of the road. You need to reduce your speed when road conditions are poor in order to maintain control of your vehicle. You will be at risk if you are driving too quickly on roads that are slippery and you need to stop. You are driving on the freeway behind a large truck. You should drive A. Closer behind the truck than you would if following a passenger vehicle. B. Farther behind the truck than you would if following a passenger vehicle. C. To the right side of the truck and wait to pass. B. Farther behind the truck than you would if following a passenger vehicle. It is necessary to follow farther behind a large truck than you would if following a passenger vehicle because trucks have larger blind spots. From top to bottom, the following is the proper order for traffic lights. A. Red, yellow, green. B. Red, green, yellow. C. Green, red, yellow. D. Green, yellow, red. A. Red, yellow, green. On a traffic signal arranged vertically, red is always on top and green on the bottom. When arranged horizontally, red is always on the left and green on the right. This sign is a warning that you are approaching A. An intersection. B. A crosswalk. C. A railroad crossing. D. A blasting zone. C. A railroad crossing. This sign indicates that you are approaching a railroad crossing. Taking drugs along with alcohol. A. Increases the risk of causing a crash. B. Is no more dangerous than consuming alcohol by itself. C. Lessens the effect of alcohol on your ability to drive. D. Has no effect on your general driving ability. A. Increases the risk of causing a crash. Drugs, including illegal, prescription, and over-the-counter medications, can affect your brain function and impair your ability to drive safely. Combining alcohol with other drugs will increase the risk of a crash. When parking next to a curb, you should use your turn signals. A. Only when pulling away from the curb. B. When pulling next to, but not away from, the curb. C. When pulling next to or away from the curb. C. When pulling next to or away from the curb. Drivers should signal when pulling next to a curb or away from a curb. At an intersection with stop signs on all corners, yield the right of way to any driver. A. On your left. B. Who arrived before you. C. Across from your vehicle. B. Who arrived before you. After coming to a full stop, vehicles should proceed through a four-way stop in the order in which they arrive to the intersection. If multiple vehicles arrive at the same time, the vehicle on the left must yield the right of way to the vehicle on the right. If you see this sign above your lane, you A. May not exit the freeway. B. May either continue through the interchange or exit the freeway from your current lane. C. May stay in your lane and continue through the interchange. D. Must exit the freeway, if you stay in your current lane. D. Must exit the freeway, if you stay in your current lane. If a yellow panel with the message, "Exit only," is on a highway sign, the lane below the sign will not continue through the interchange. Instead, the lane will go off of the roadway to form a ramp. If you are in a lane directly under an exit only sign, you may change lanes to move through the interchange, or you must exit the highway. Which of these statements is true about changing lanes? A. You only need to turn and look over your right shoulder for lane changes to the right or left. B. Look over your right shoulder for a right lane change and your left shoulder for a left lane change. C. Vehicles with two outside mirrors do not have blind spots. B. Look over your right shoulder for a right lane change and your left shoulder for a left lane change. Before changing lanes, signal, look in all your mirrors, and look over your left or right shoulder to make sure the lane next to you is clear. Looking over your shoulder is a way to check your blind spot to be sure there is no vehicle, motorcycle, or bicycle traffic in the next lane. The amount of alcohol in the blood is referred to as A. Implied consent, IC. B. Blood alcohol concentration, BAC. C. Rate of alcohol consumption, RAC. B. Blood alcohol concentration, BAC. Blood alcohol concentration, BAC, is a measurement of the percentage of alcohol in the blood. The higher the BAC number, the more impaired a person is. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to A. Other drivers who are already in the intersection. B. Oncoming traffic. C. Pedestrians who are already in the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to oncoming traffic. Drivers must also always yield the right of way to pedestrians, bicyclists, and other drivers who are already in the intersection. What is the only effective way to remove alcohol from the body? A. Drink strong coffee. B. Wait. C. Take a cold shower. B. Wait. The only way to remove the effects of alcohol from the body is to let time pass. Eating, drinking coffee, or taking a shower will not speed up this process. This road sign means A. Drive with caution and be ready to stop. B. You must come to a complete stop. C. Stop, if necessary. B. You must come to a complete stop. The stop sign is the only 8-sided sign you will see on any roadway. When you encounter a stop sign, you must come to a complete stop. You may not proceed until the way is clear for you to completely and safely pass through the intersection. You drive defensively when you A. Put one car length between you and the car ahead. B. Look only at the car in front of you while driving. C. Keep your eyes moving to look for possible hazards. C. Keep your eyes moving to look for possible hazards. You are driving defensively when you are looking down the road for potential hazards. Constantly staring at the road directly in front of your vehicle is dangerous. As you scan ahead, be alert to vehicles around you. This sign means A. Trucks are permitted on an upcoming narrow bridge. B. The bridge ahead is open to one-way traffic only. C. The bridge ahead is wide enough for only one car at a time. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. Warning signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazardous conditions and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that an upcoming bridge may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck and that they should be careful. When should you yield your legal right-of-way? A. Often, even at controlled intersections. B. Whenever it helps prevent collisions. C. Never. It confuses other drivers. B. Whenever it helps prevent collisions. Never assume other drivers will give you the right-of-way. Yield your right-of-way whenever it helps prevent collisions. This sign means A. Emergency vehicles ahead. B. Uncontrolled intersection ahead. C. Four-way stop ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. This sign warns that a traffic signal is ahead. When following closely behind another vehicle at night, you should use A. Your high beams. B. Your low beams. C. Your parking lights. B. Your low beams. You should use your low beam headlights when you are closer than 500 feet behind another vehicle or when in heavy traffic. You want to turn left at an intersection. The light is green but oncoming traffic is heavy. You should A. Use the next intersection. B. Wait at the crosswalk for traffic to clear. C. Wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. D. Take the right-of-way since you have a green light. C. Wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. When making a left turn where there is approaching traffic, you must wait for the approaching traffic to go through before you turn. You may enter the intersection to prepare for your left turn if the light is green and no other vehicle ahead of you plans to make a left turn. You notice a vehicle defect which may affect the safe operation of your vehicle. You should A. Correct the defect as soon as possible. B. Correct the defect when you can afford it. C. Drive the vehicle at slower speeds. D. Drive normally. A. Correct the defect as soon as possible. Any defect that may affect the safe operation of a vehicle should be corrected as soon as possible. Defects should be corrected before the vehicle is driven. On a green arrow, you must A. Yield to any vehicle, bicycle, or pedestrian in the intersection. B. Yield to pedestrians only in the intersection. C. Wait 4 seconds before proceeding. A. Yield to any vehicle, bicycle, or pedestrian in the intersection. A green arrow means, go. You must turn in the direction the arrow is pointing after you yield to any vehicles, bicycles, or pedestrians who are still in the intersection. You must not drive your vehicle at a speed greater than A. The maximum speed limit. B. A speed that is faster than is reasonable and prudent. C. A speed that is safe for existing conditions. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must not drive at a speed that is faster than is reasonable and prudent. You must drive at a speed that is appropriate for the area where you are driving, the type and condition of surrounding traffic, the presence of pedestrians, the weather, the quality of the road, and light conditions. You must drive within legal speed limits. This road sign means A. No right turn. B. Curve. C. Turn right or left. D. Traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. D. Traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. This one-way sign indicates that traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. When changing lanes on a highway, you should A. Signal a lane change. B. Check your rearview and outside mirrors. C. Check your blind spot by glancing over your shoulder. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Anytime you want to change lanes, you should properly signal your intentions well in advance, check your mirrors, and check your blind spot. You can check your blind spot by glancing over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. Alcohol. A. Slows reflexes and reaction time. B. Puts you to sleep. C. Wakes you up. D. Improves your judgment. A. Slows reflexes and reaction time. Alcohol is a depressant drug that slows the activity of the brain and reduces the skills that you need for safe driving. Drinking alcohol results in slowed reaction time and impaired judgment. To see objects in their blind spot when changing lanes, drivers should check A. Only the left outside mirror. B. Over their left or right shoulder. C. Only the inside rearview mirror. B. Over their left or right shoulder. Your vehicle's blind spots are the areas that you cannot see in your mirrors. Look over the appropriate shoulder to check your blind spot when changing lanes. This road sign means A. Intersection ahead. B. Merging traffic. C. Steep hill ahead. C. Steep hill ahead. Warning signs provide notice to road users of a situation that might not be readily apparent and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers of an upcoming steep hill. Drivers should adjust their speed accordingly to avoid collisions and brake damage. Which of the following is not a safe driving practice when driving on the interstate? A. Slower traffic must keep to the right. B. Change lanes without signaling. C. If you miss your exit, you must go to the next exit. B. Change lanes without signaling. You should always signal when moving your vehicle to the right or left. On an interstate, you should stay in the right lane if you are moving more slowly than the surrounding traffic. It is illegal to back up or make a U-turn on interstate highways, so if you miss your exit, you should proceed to the next exit. Which of these is a safe driving technique? A. Using your high beam lights in the fog. B. Staring at the road ahead of your vehicle. C. Checking your rearview mirrors frequently. C. Checking your rearview mirrors frequently. To stay aware of hazards, you should scan the road and check your rearview mirrors every 2 to 5 seconds. Constantly staring at just the road ahead of you is dangerous. If you must drive in foggy conditions, you should use your low beam headlights, not your high beam headlights. This sign means A. Crossroad ahead. B. Merge. C. Stop. A. Crossroad ahead. This sign indicates that there is a crossroad ahead.